Ahoy there, I'm Tiny Pirate and welcome to my series about getting into racing drones for gamers. If you're like me, you may have found out about the exciting world of FPV racing, first-person view racing, and you're really interested to get into drones yourself. I'm currently taking that journey and I thought I'd share you some of my experiences and some tips that I've picked up along the way, and hopefully they'll help guide you towards a lot of fun messing around with drones. So the first thing to think about if you're interested in getting into drones is how to test your interest without spending $1,000 on controllers, on goggles, on a drone, on a battery charger, on the bags to carry it all, and all that kind of fun stuff. So the way I've got into drones is I have gone and got one of these controllers and I've been playing LiftOff, which has been a lot of fun. There are other simulators out there and you can try them out. I'll chuck a couple of links in the description below. So for the price of $20 for LiftOff, I think that's what it is on the Steam store, and a controller you can either buy or borrow, you can find out if you like drones. Now, if you do decide you like drones, possibly the next step is to get a small drone of your very own. I've got a Hubsan X4 and I'll talk about that in the next video. But the other thing you can do is pick up one of these. Wow, this is a, ooh, goes up like that and then it goes down like that. So this is a proper radio controller for drones, and that's when you really decide that perhaps you want to try drones for real and you want to get a bit of practice in the simulator, because this can be connected to LiftOff and you can fly with it, and there's a lot of reasons why that's kind of cool, and I'll talk about that a bit later on. This, however, is a bit more of a significant investment. So this is a FreeSky Taranis Plus. I think they go about $200. I'll chuck a link in the description as well. There are other controllers you can get, other transmitters that do connect to your computer and to LiftOff, but this is probably the easiest. But if you're buying this, you're probably pretty committed to flying drones, and so there is that to think about. And also, it does cool things, like you can put your own little...
You did it. You powered on the system.
Put your picture on it, and you can have it talk to you as well. Like I've set this Portal voice pack.
You did it.
Yay.
You powered on the system.
There'll be a link to the files for that for those who are super interested. Yeah, it's just telling me I'm a moron because my throttle's up, so yeah. That's kind of fun. So one of these controllers is also a really good way to play LiftOff, and I'll show how they both work, how the PlayStation controller works, and how the FastSky or FreeSky Taranis works in the simulator. This is definitely a little easier to fly with, but you will have a lot of fun with this, and I think if you're very clever, you can get really good with this. I'm definitely better with this one though. Right, well here we are in LiftOff using the PlayStation controller, and as you can see I've got both sticks centered, and when I have both sticks centered on a quad, that means that I'm running at 50% sort of upward velocity, up 50% throttle. So the only way to keep my throttle a bit lower and to control my altitude in a fairly flat hover here is to hold the stick further down on the left. This is okay, except for the fact that if you're trying to do quite like precise maneuvers, you might need to hold that stick down at sort of sort of just down about here, sort of 3/4 of the way down, and that can be quite hard to keep accurate. You don't have that on one of the nicer controllers, on a full Taranis, for example, because the throttle isn't sprung to return to the center. That being said, it's quite flyable like this. I'm not doing a particularly brilliant job while I talk, but the quad sort of responds as you would hope, and you as a player can do some appropriately cool things with it. But just be aware that with a controller, you're not quite going to be picking up the same experience. Now, I think to find out if you like drones, if you're interested in them, it's a great way to go. I mean, you are going to get a really good sense of what is or isn't working for you this way. And this is me flying with the Taranis, and as you can see, the throttle on the left stick there is already at the bottom, because that's how these sticks work. I can be much more precise, and I'm not necessarily going to claim that I am, but I do find, especially not when I'm trying to talk at the same time, never a good idea, but I do find that I can have a lot more control over the quad. For the average gamer interested, I would say getting into the Taranis side of things is perhaps only for those who've decided they're truly committed to the idea of getting into racing drones, at which point you're going to want to start accumulating gear, I suppose, maybe all at once if you're particularly flush, or if you're like me, then bit by bit. So I've started with a transmitter just so that I can do things like play around with this drone racing game until I get good enough and have enough money to afford a decent, proper, real-world rig. So hopefully this has been a useful introduction for those of you interested in drone racing, with a few ideas here on how to get into the hobby and what you can do to start down that path. If you're interested in learning more and seeing my journey, then feel free to subscribe. I also have a gaming channel as well behind this where I play various interesting games. Might be of interest as well. Until next time, I've been Tiny Pirate. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, love to hear from you, and do hang around for more drone and game related content and some more ideas on how you can turn a gamer into a drone flyer. Thanks very much. Good night.